The queen gazed down at the weapon, still stained with the blood of whoever met the other end of it. For a moment, she pondered whether or not the mace was stained with the blood of her fallen companion as well, in his final moments of defending the kingdom from foreign invaders. How long had he fought to keep the enemy forces at bay? How much had he bled in the name of protection? How much had he suffered in his final moments with no one there to help him? Save him. Or at the very least, keep him from passing on all alone. That was when Bath began to mentally and emotionally spiral over that thought. Had Pep's last moments been filled with fear, dread, pain, sadness, loneliness? What if he had believed in his final moments that he had been abandoned? That he was essentially left to die a cold and agonizing death with no one there to hold his hand, to speak with him, comfort him, tell him that everything would be okay even if it was clear that it wouldn't be. Bath didn't just feel a wave of guilt wash over her. It was a raging tsunami, flooding her body in an icy grip that left her lungs gasping for air, her heart straining itself to beat, and her mind crumbling over every little thing that led to this moment. What could she have said? What could she have done? How could she have predicted that things would go so horribly? That a loyal member of her band of knights, as well as a trusted friend and ally, would fall to his demise just acres from her fingertips. I should have been there, she thought to herself. I should have been there beside him, fighting with him to protect my kingdom. I'm this land's queen, for goodness sake. To hell with royalty not being allowed anywhere near the fight. I should have been there anyway. He needed me. He needed me there, and I just wasn't. The queen's mind then fell upon thinking those words. Words that left her spirit broken and withered. The hope that she worked so hard to build and nurture for her people after becoming their queen. It was almost as if it completely shattered inside of her. I left him to die. I left him to die. I abandoned my dear friend to die alone. I left him to die. I left him to die. I abandoned him. I left him to die. I left him to die. I left him to die. Bath? A voice broke from her mental sea of grief and shame, and the queen looked up to meet the equally mournful yet concerned eyes of her husband. He reached to wipe the tears from her eyes, attempting to be strong for her as she silently wept tear after bitter tear. She'd always been the calm, capable, and composed one of the two when it came to political matters of the kingdom. Something that King Stephen was not very skilled at, compared to other things. But given the loss of someone they both considered a dear friend beyond royal duty and obligation, the king tried to maintain his composure. for his dear wife's sake. Bath merely stared up at him, eyes empty and void of the sunny spark that they once held. Suddenly, King Stephen's voice was beginning to fade. It was still present in her mind, just muffled. Same went for all that surrounded her. It felt like everything and everyone around her was underwater. Sound in sight slowly melted and blurred into a cacophony of watercolor blobs and indiscernible background noise. And all that remained so clearly clear was a long forgotten, yet oh so familiar feeling blooming inside of her. It started off small, but quickly burned brighter and brighter in her heart and mind until it blazed so hot like an untamable wildfire. Rage. Pure, unadulterated, uncontrollable rage. That was a feeling the Queen hadn't felt since the beginning of her life as Baphomet. A being with power like that of a true deity, only ever spoken of in hushed whispers amongst the mortals of this world. In those early days, oh so long ago, back when the world was so much different than it is now. Back when the old world had been erased, paving the way for the new world to come. Rage was all she had. It kept her sane. It kept her alive. It kept her moving forward to find something, anything that resembled a purpose that she could live by instead of wandering alone for eternity. The day that she returned to this broken world. No. The day that she became queen of this kingdom. A kingdom that beamed such radiant light of hope out of every other piece in this world that she once called home. Had changed things. It gave her a chance to change her fate, to find a purpose for her new existence. It gave her hope that she could finally find peace. And she'd hoped that she'd never feel that fire inside her strike again. Not when it would run the risk of her loved ones getting caught in the crossfire of her emotional outburst. But now that carefully calculated barrier to protect all life around her had cracked like an overflowing river dam. And like all dams do when they break, a flood of pain and destruction is sure to follow. My queen, what should we do? Surely the enemy is bound to start a counterattack to combat what Sir Pep has done to limit their troops. What are your orders? Just as King Stephen was ready to turn and reply for Bath to the captain of the Royal Guard's front-line fleet, or what was left of it at least, after the carnage, Bath's voice cut him off as she answered in his place. Her voice, once warm and sweet, like honey on freshly baked bread, was now devoid of emotion and seemed to radiate an aura that left all in the room who heard her feeling uneasy. We will do what we should have done from the start. The guard was confused for a moment, before it hit him like lemon on an open wound. My queen, surely you don't mean... But what about your quest for peace? Your statement that all deserve the right to a life? To hell with making peace. Those fools have done the unthinkable and slain so many innocent lives when all we've done, all I've done, was strive for peace and offering mercy. I've been kind. I've been cordial. I've tried to meet their demands in an effort to strike up an alliance. And now that whole kingdom will pay. They will all pay with their lives. And I don't care who has to burn to right the wrongs that have been made today. With that, the Queen ordered the last of her men to prepare in the training grounds. For she had something she wished to share with them that would guarantee immediate victory in this war. The tactics she was planning to utilize were far beyond what people considered playing dirty. But sometimes, you've got to break a few eggs to make an omelet. And tomorrow, at dawn, she and her army were going to break anything and everything they could get their hands on. Hold on a little longer, Pep. I promise. I'll come for you. But for now, the ones who hurt you and took you from me, took you from all of us, they will all pay for this. They